While single-player experiences offer their own excitement, nothing beats the thrill of gaming with friends right by your side. That's why we've meticulously curated the ultimate list of top 20 local co-op and split-screen games currently available on PlayStation Plus. Get set for unforgettable bonding moments and endless fun as we delve into the very best titles designed for those epic gaming sessions with your buddies. Starting off the list is Totally Reliable Delivery Service. The only reliable thing about this delivery service is how much fun you'll have playing it. Up to 4 players can step into the shoes of employees at the Totally Reliable Delivery Service. With its awkward controls and bombastic motions, the game becomes an exercise in managing to contain your laughter. Delivery assignments require various vehicles, like hot air balloons and go-karts. While some vehicles, particularly the helicopters, might control better at times, it is all low stakes, so crashing and trying again is more funny than frustrating. No matter what mode of transportation you used, hilarious co-op antics are guaranteed. Next up is the Dark Pictures anthology, House of Ashes. The first 3 entries in the Dark Pictures anthology are available on PS Plus, and each is a solid horror game in its own right. Supermassive not only specializes in the horror genre, but also often includes co-op features in their modern games, with a quarry arguably showcasing the best implementation. The Dark Pictures anthology laid the groundwork for that project's multiplayer, and all the games truly shine when experienced as part of a group rather than solo. House of Ashes features 5 playable protagonists, and if 5 players are participating, each will get to control a single character. Naturally, they won't all play at the same time since the campaign shifts between different points of view, so one player will be active while the others watch. The exciting part is that one person's decisions will impact the entire party. Number 18 on our list is For the King. This RPG tells a fairly basic story about setting out on an adventure to protect the kingdom following the death of its ruler. Players create a party and are dropped into a grid-based map, with every action being turn-based. For the King utilizes roguelike elements to ensure each playthrough offers something different, and players will likely find themselves starting over after their characters are wiped or they encounter a particularly brutal campaign. The combat is also turn-based and generally enjoyable, matching accessible mechanics with a high difficulty ceiling even on lower levels. For the King offers one of the most enjoyable experiences by blending roguelike, RPG, and turn-based strategy elements. This formula works great for solo play and is even better when playing co-op with others. Next, we have Death Squared. This puzzle game emphasizes cooperative play and is divided into levels where players must direct their colored cubes toward their corresponding squares while navigating various obstacles and challenges. While the game can be played solo, it truly shines in co-op mode, where players must coordinate and communicate to help each other reach the end goal. Unlike other puzzle games that tend to isolate the player, Death Squared promotes teamwork and creates a memorable gaming experience. The game is both charming and challenging and even features a decent storyline, making it one of the more noteworthy modern puzzle games available on PS Plus. Number 16 is Trackmania Turbo, a popular racing game renowned for its wacky tracks that defy the laws of physics. Players can also create their own outrageous courses. The game offers a unique co-op mode called Double Driver, which allows 2 players to control a single car by finding a middle ground between their inputs. Co-op is not typically seen in racing games, but Trackmania Turbo does it well. The game also features a traditional 4-player split screen, which is competitive rather than cooperative. While it may not be the very best racing game on PS Plus, Trackmania Turbo is a must-play for fans of the genre who are looking for something unique and enjoyable. Number 15 is Untitled Goose Game. This game offers unrestrained chaos, taking place in a charming British village subjected to unimaginable horrors due to the arrival of a goose with plans to turn the citizens' lives upside down. To make matters worse, the waterfowl can bring a friend. House's Untitled Goose Game is a silly but charming game that puts players in charge of 2 geese in local co-op as they complete tasks, often involving being a nuisance to the townsfolk. The addition of a second goose does not change the campaign's objectives too much. The players can still have a blast working together to annoy the furious NPCs. Untitled Goose Game is unique, well-made, and very streamlined. It's a lot of fun and unlike anything you've played before. Number 14 is Warhammer Chaos Bane. Warhammer games are quite common, and the franchise is no stranger to co-op. PS Plus Extra highlights this beautifully by offering multiple cooperative Warhammer packages that cover a surprising range of genres. Vermintide 2 is a first-person hack-and-slash game that tasks players with clearing waves of enemies. Fakshark's title is a great deal of fun. Inquisitor is also an option for those who prefer isometric action. As fun as these projects are, they only support online multiplayer. Thankfully, Chaos Bane is available on PS Plus for those looking for a highly entertaining local co-op experience. With 4 classes, a reasonably lengthy main campaign, and post-game content, the 2019 release should keep players busy for a while. Number 13 is Fury Unleashed, a roguelike shooter that lets players live out their comic book hero fantasies. After creating a character, players take on randomly generated levels across 4 formats, battling through waves of enemies while earning currency, executing combos, and discovering new weapons. These types of games can become repetitive, but bringing a friend along can make it more enjoyable. With short, explosive gameplay and tight controls, Fury Unleashed is a must-play for PS Plus Premium and Extra subscribers. Don't ignore this indie title, it guarantees a fun time. If you're enjoying this video, we'd really appreciate it if you gave us a thumbs up. Number 12 is Cat Quest 2. This adorable game seems designed to be played with a friend, as both the story and cover image showcase the dual protagonists. In this game, a cat partners with a dog to create perhaps the most charming pair of heroes in gaming. The conventional good versus evil story plays it safe, mostly serving as an excuse to send players on a joyous adventure through towns, wastelands, and dungeons. Along the way, they will face an impressive range of monsters, engaging in combat that has more depth than it might initially seem. Cat Quest 2 is perfectly fine as a solo RPG, allowing players to swap between the 2 protagonists. However, an AI partner is seldom as useful as another human, which is especially true for this game. In terms of difficulty, Cat Quest 2 delivers enough of a challenge to keep experienced players engaged, while also being accessible to children who might be taking their first steps into the world of gaming. Next, we have Jak X Combat Racing. Although overshadowed by Crash Team Racing, which is not available on PS Plus Premium, Naughty Dog's Jak X Combat Racing is an excellent racer in its own right. Packed with content courtesy of a fun adventure mode and a plethora of exhibition options, Jak X combines fast-paced kart racing mayhem with vehicular combat, offering players plenty of explosive weapons to unleash against their opponents. When it was released in 2005, Jak X was the first Naughty Dog game to incorporate online multiplayer. Unfortunately, this feature concluded its run in 2012. However, players can still set up a split-screen race if they want to face off against a friend. The process can be a bit needlessly complicated since the game fast-forwards through the multiplayer options when someone enters that category in the menu. Still, as long as 2 controllers are plugged into the console, the split-screen option should be selectable. Number 10 is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, a Borderlands spin-off that serves as a solid entry point into the franchise. In this release, the story is framed around a campaign of bunkers and badasses, an obvious stand-in for Dungeons & Dragons. Tiny Tina acts as the dungeon master, and players take control of a new hero, who joins the party aiming to take down the Dragon Lord. The narrative starts fairly straightforward and safe, but things progressively get more absurd, resulting in quite an enjoyable experience. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands replaces the core entry's sci-fi weaponry with options inspired by fantasy tropes, though they largely function the same way. Similar to Borderlands, the spin-off inundates players with loot featuring incremental stats that may seem inconsequential until the weapon is tried directly. Just like other Borderlands titles, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is a blast, whether played solo or in co-op, with the co-op mode perfectly complementing the story. Activating co-op in Tiny Tina's Wonderlands is straightforward, with players having a few options that determine how loot is distributed among the party. On the PS5, the shooter supports 4-player local co-op, instantly making it one of the best split-screen games on PS Plus. On the PS4, players will have to settle for 2-player support. Number 9 is Magicka 2, a power fantasy that empowers players to create spells impressive enough to rival legendary wizards. While players have access to all the necessary tools, executing these spells isn't a walk in the park. It requires precise button combinations to combine various magic types, and these sequences can be quite lengthy. Despite its challenging learning curve, Magicka 2 rewards dedicated players with a satisfying array of wizardry destruction. While it's possible to play solo, Magicka 2 truly shines when enjoyed with a group of friends, as the game's enemies hit hard and without mercy. With a team of 4, players can unleash overwhelming and delightful chaos across the land, resulting in a ton of fun. Number 8 is LEGO DC Super Villains. PS Plus includes an impressive selection of LEGO games, most of which support local co-op. These titles offer lighthearted, family-friendly entertainment that 2 players can enjoy simultaneously. LEGO DC Super Villains stands out for its co-op gameplay. Unlike many LEGO games that simply add a second player into the mix, this game includes events and challenges designed to take advantage of a second player's presence, making for a more engaging co-op experience. Super Villains is a charmingly funny game that combines the joy of LEGO with the creative coolness of the DC roster. The game isn't hard by any means, but it's a great casual romp through an interesting story. The massive roster is impressive, and the detail put into each character makes each one of them worth putting time into. Number 7 is Human Fall Flat. If unpredictable physics and a sandbox that encourages experimentation are a recipe for endless giggles, then Human Fall Flat turns players into master chefs. Each level in the game provides several objectives that require completing platforming challenges and solving puzzles. However, Human Fall Flat is at its most entertaining when any guidelines are ignored in favor of producing chaotic messes. In split screen, 2 players receive blank humans to direct, and the addition of another player opens up even further the already vast gameplay possibilities. The more creative and curious the players are, the more fun Human Fall Flat becomes. Number 6 is Dragon's Crown Pro. Originally released for the PS3 and Vita, this game eventually made its way to the PS4 in the form of a Pro Edition, and this version is on PS Plus Premium. Featuring 6 playable classes, Dragon's Crown blends side-scrolling beat-em-up action with RPG systems, crafting an experience that can be deeply addictive despite being ultimately quite repetitive. Players will find themselves playing through the same 9 levels as they gradually level up their characters, and the combat system is more than good enough to keep things interesting for a long while. In terms of co-op support, 4 friends can team up to take on the campaign's challenges. When the full playable roster is used, the on-screen action can get a touch chaotic and overwhelming. Nevertheless, co-op is a positive addition to Dragon's Crown. The game is great solo, but bringing a friend along can make the grind less exhausting. Number 5 is Kingdom 2 Crowns. Strategy games are already niche, and Kingdom 2 Crowns is a unique entry in that genre. The side-scrolling game casts players as a ruler who must travel across islands to establish their kingdom. This process involves investing money in infrastructure and creating strongholds to protect people from monsters. Being king or queen is not easy or predictable, and failure is part of a learning process in Kingdom 2 Crowns. If the weight of this responsibility is too much for one player, a second ruler can step in to help carry the burden. However, Kingdom 2 Crowns co-op involves little direct interaction between the players since the game casts them as rulers who coexist while still largely doing their own thing. Next is Trine 4 The Nightmare Prince. The Trine series is known for its engaging cooperative gameplay, but some players were disappointed with the third installment, as it took away some of the elements that made the series a fun local co-op game. Trine 4 aimed to correct this by giving players the puzzle-solving and action-heavy platforming content they love. While some players still prefer Trine 2, there's a lot to appreciate in the fourth installment, such as its stunningly beautiful visuals and environments. The gameplay is also better than ever, with mind-bending scenarios that are sure to keep players engaged. Number 3 is Overcooked 2. The best local co-op games can often be challenging and competitive, but Overcooked 2 takes it to another level and can even put strong friendships to the test. While losing to a friend in Mario Kart 8 can cause some frustration and occasional outbursts, the high-pressure environment of running a restaurant is on a whole different level. As orders come in, players must collaborate and communicate effectively to keep up with the increasing demands. Poor communication and coordination can lead to wasted time and mistakes, which can be frustrating. However, when everyone works together seamlessly and the kitchen runs like clockwork, it's a rewarding experience. Number 2 is Alien Nation, a thrilling twin-stick shooter set in a world where aliens have taken over and players must engage in intense shooting and killing to restore humanity's control. While the game supports single-player and online co-op, local co-op is the way to go to achieve the best coordination between players. With 4 different classes to choose from, each with unique strengths and weaknesses, Alien Nation offers a steep challenge that is both explosive and engaging, incorporating RPG elements that add to the excitement. Alien Nation's local co-op mode is one of the best as it allows players to experience the heart-pumping action and coordination firsthand, making it one of the most engaging co-op experiences on PS Plus. Number 1 is Moving Out 2, a sequel that has largely received very good reviews. Its predecessor is also available on Sony's subscription service, and while it's a perfectly enjoyable game in its own right, newcomers will probably want to start with the sequel since it expands on most of the same ideas. While technically playable solo, Moving Out 2 is designed with co-op in mind to the point that recommending it solely as a single-player option can be difficult. Essentially, it's all about moving furniture, which is one of those ideas that sounds like it cannot possibly be fun. However, unlike reality, Moving Out 2 turns the tedious task into an over-the-top adventure where each piece serves as its own puzzle. The game uses exaggerated physics to shake things up, and movers will need to work quickly and wisely. Moving Out 2 succeeds in all the ways a sequel should. It keeps the best elements from the first game and intersperses them among a truckload of imaginative levels, making it a must-play for all couch co-op fans. We hope you discovered your next favorite game. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more PlayStation content. Until next time, happy gaming.